It's been given the here we go by Fabrizio Romano, and it looks like Magassa is set to join West Ham United in a deal worth 20 million euros, just over 17 million pounds to you and I. Apparently, the medical's booked in, and he's set to travel. Monaco central midfielder. Frankie, till a couple of days ago, had you ever heard of him?
No, honestly, no, I hadn't.
Have you read much or looked at him since we've been linked to him? Have you done any research?
I've done a bit of the eye test. I've had a good look. Watched a few bits and pieces. So yeah, I've got a little bit of a take on him.
Come on then, give us your take. What you got? Oh, he's just cut out there. He'll be back in a second. I'll just fill in the time while Frankie's in. There you go. You're back now, Frankie. What's your take on
back.
him?
I mean, he looks athletic. I've been sort of saying that we've kind of missed that Mohamed Diame, Kouyaté kind of player in the middle. While they both weren't exceptional players, I feel like we've missed a bit of athleticism in the middle there, and I think this fella certainly could bring that. I can't get my head around whether or not he's got good feet or whether he just gets very lucky in the clips that they post online. He looks a little bit clumsy, but still comes away with a ball at times. So it will be interesting to see how he takes to the Premier League. It's almost, he's one of them players who is so casual, and then he waits till the very last second before he moves the ball. And at times you think, oh, you're going to get caught there. But for some reason, he just seems to manage to get enough of a touch on it that he sort of comes away with the ball. So look, is the Premier League and its pace and its physicality going to mean that little bit of time that he gets away with it, that he isn't going to get that, and all of a sudden he won't look like the player that he does playing in the French league? Or is he going to come in and be that player who's actually got a bit to do with his feet and can bring those legs in midfield? And the one thing that I quite liked about him is often you get those big sort of tall type players, and actually their passing ability isn't that good. And we know that that's one of the biggest criticisms of Souček, but he looks like he can pick a pass as well. So that's a real positive.
Steve was asking, do we really believe he will sign? Prediction time.
I don't see why this one. I don't see why not with this one. I think we're enough of a draw. I think it's perfect opportunity for him to come and play in the Premier League. I think this is the type of signing we do manage to get done.
Yeah, I think it's reliable sources reporting it. Now, Fabrizio Romano has got a couple of here we goes for West Ham wrong in the past. I think he must hate doing the here he goes for West Ham because it does sometimes bite him in the bum. But usually he's really good. But Steinberg, extra employee, all the big hitters are sort of reporting the same thing with Magassa. And it felt quite substantial on Friday as well when it first got reported. I did my video Saturday morning with Sloth about him. So if you haven't seen that, go check out, because Sloth has watched him play for Monaco, and he can go a lot more in depth than what me or Frankie can, because we hadn't heard of him until just a few days ago. But my understanding, I was just reading an article with him. So he'd been interviewed. I was just reading an article with him just before we went live. So number 6, prefers to be a number 6, but can play centre back. But he enjoys being aggressive. He enjoys getting on the ball. I can only get so excited, Frankie, about players I've never heard of before, never seen play. There's only so much excitement I can get, because I can't imagine how they'll fit into our team, because I don't really know what they bring to the table. But what I do know is that there's a massive vacancy or vacancies in the middle of the pitch at West Ham United. So in terms of, it's not like we're bringing in a right back and therefore it's hard to see them dislodging Adam Wan-Bissaka. We're bringing in a right winger and you're thinking, you're not going to get in ahead of Jared Bowen. We're bringing in a player here that hopefully walks into our midfield. And if not, I'd be a bit concerned, because I feel like the bar's pretty low, if you know what I mean. I don't think it's going to take like a world-class signing in order to go into our starting 11 in the middle of the pitch. So Steve-O, yes, I do believe it, because of all the sort of people that are reporting it. It would be nice to get one done, move on to the next one straight away, because I think we need at least one more. I do have a little pie chart. Now, before I do that, Frankie, Ross is saying there's a wry smile. There is a wry smile for me. Frankie might have seen it as well. I'm afraid GP's paid his money, so I'm going to put it up. I'm not going to read it out, though, because it's only 25 to 1 in the afternoon, and there might be people listening at home with kids. But, Frankie, you can read.
If he wants it, Gio, he can have it. Don't worry about that.
GP, thank you for your support, as always. Alex, we'll get onto that transfer rumour in just a second. But before we do that, got a little pie chart. You ready for a bit of a pie chart, Frankie?
Mate, I'm dressed for work today.
You are.
Let's go full on pie charts.
Some of the live chats suggesting you dress for prison today. But we'll go. Here's a pie chart here. So this is Magassa compared to other midfielders in top 5 leagues, plus the Champions League and the Europa League, and it's done in percentiles. So you can see the very bottom left one there at the sort of 7 o'clock position, the tackles into interceptions in the 98th percentile, effectively in the top 2% of players for statistics in that area of the game. The 98th percentile for blocks, and it drops down to 69 for clearances. In possession, which is the top right quadrant there, you've got your passes attempted, pass completion, progressive passes, he's in the 60th percentile. Successful take-ons, really high at 88%, touches 74. The offensive side of the game, perhaps not as impressive, but that's okay. That's not what we're buying here. We're not buying someone that's going to provide the creativity. We're not bringing him in expecting to be a number 10. Although earlier in his career, he was thought to be an 8/10. I was just reading that when he was at the Under-20s World Cup with France, he was given the number 10 shirt, and they thought he would be that sort of number 8/10. But I think there was a red card. He ended up playing centre-back for the entire competition. So the guy wearing number 10 was running around playing centre-back for them. But certainly out of possession, he does look like a bit of a beast with his statistics. But the one thing I will add for context, I'll just flash it back up so you can see it. If you have a look just under his name there, you can see that it says 1,292 minutes. So he hasn't played loads of football. So he's not, that's why these numbers can be a little bit misleading, because these are done as per 90 rather than, do you know what I mean? It doesn't take into it doesn't take the amount of minutes played into consideration. So out of possession looks really good. Gatesy saying not great in the air according to that. Let me just double check that. I can't recall off the top of my head. Let's have a little look. Aerial duels, the 35th percentile for winning his aerial duels. So he's not great in the air according to the pie chart. That's a good point. Didn't notice that one. That's not a good one. But anyway, anything you'd like to add about Magassa, Frankie, before we move on to Sangari?
No, just on that, I really don't fancy him as a centre-back. I can't see us buying him as a centre-back. I don't even think we'd use him as a centre-back. I don't think that's what we're buying him for. Yeah. Like I said, he's got legs. He is that Diame Kouyaté type player for me. Gets hold of the ball, brings it forward. A lot of people are asking, does he have pace? I wouldn't say he's got typical pace. He's more of a power runner, like a Diame and a Kouyaté was. But when they get going, that sort of player in midfield is quite hard to stop, and he's very, very good at protecting the ball. So that's why his stats on that side of things are so high. So I think he's definitely coming in as that number 6 type role. Certainly not a centre back for me.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, because we've also had Edson Alvarez under Potter, who can play centre back, but predominantly a midfielder, and Potter's not used him as a centre back. Granted, didn't really use him as a central midfielder either, but I think Potter's showing his sort of reluctance to drop him in there or play him in there. Whereas at Brighton, he showed a little bit more of playing midfielders in the back or fullbacks in the back three or something like that. So I think it would be more of the number 6.
But that's a big thing on this, that I'm just a little bit. It's not the player, it's the type of the deal that we're doing here. And someone's just mentioned it in the chat there with regards to him being young and experienced and not expecting too much straight away. I've seen so many deals in what other Premier League teams are doing, signing proven Premier League players to come in and hit the ground running straight away. I really felt like we would have been more comfortable with signing someone who we know is ready and raring to go in the Premier League. I agree with don't expect wonders straight away, and unfortunately I think we need wonders straight away. I think we're desperate for that. So on that basis, I am a little bit nervous about the signing.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. We do need someone to come in and make an impact immediately. So there is a lot of pressure on him, but hopefully we've got this one right. But anyway, that's the latest in regards to Magassa. Fabrizio Romano and the others are saying it's pretty much done and the medical is booked. Now, we've apparently made a loan move for Nottingham Forest midfielder Sangari. This, I think it was Jack Ross here put this one out. It's been backed up by Jacob Steinberg. It's been backed up by Express employees. Well, they've both confirmed Jack's exclusive is correct and that we have approached Nottingham Forest with a loan move for Sangari. And it's a loan move with an obligation to buy if certain clauses are met throughout the season. So usually appearances and us avoiding relegation would be the two clauses you would expect to be in there. Do you have much of a thought on that transfer, Frankie?
Yeah, I like it. And again, like we said, Premier League experience already, was playing in a club who had a good season and was playing decent football, and it'll be full of confidence and believing in himself. So, look, if that's someone that they're not interested in, I certainly think he could do a very good job for us, and he's quite a good fit for what we need. And that then makes that other signing a good one. You want both. This isn't one of them either or type situations. It's let's get the young up and coming player, but you sign someone who's Premier League ready and raring to go, who's going to come in, do a job straight away, and actually take the pressure off the young kid who's coming in, who can then just play a bit part, get a feel for the Premier League. You don't have to be rushed. Signing both would be very interesting.
I think this one's a bit ambitious. I'd be surprised if this one went anywhere. I think I say I'm ambitious. It's just a polite way of saying unrealistic because he's started the last two games with Nottingham Forest in the league so far. So I think he's quite an important part of their plans, actually. So I'd be very surprised they would allow him to leave. Look, if we went in and bid a ridiculous amount of money, do I think they'd accept it? Probably, yeah. But we're not. We're bidding to get him on loan, and we'd only end up buying him if certain things are met. And like I said, I think it's a fair assumption that one of those things would be that we do not get relegated. I'm not in the Forest. I'm looking at that thinking there's a good chance you go down here. That means we'd end up with no money next summer, kind of thing. I think I'd be shocked if Nottingham Forest accepted this. I appreciate they've spent a lot. I appreciate they're still going to be spending money, but this isn't one of their fringe players that we're going after here. This is someone that's quite important to them when fit. Now, that's kind of the problem. He's had his injury issues at Nottingham Forest, but when he has been fit, he's been absolutely brilliant. Plus, they've got a Europa League campaign coming up, so they're going to need a big squad. They're going to need that depth. If it was possible, I'm all for it. I'm just don't believe it would be possible, to be honest with you. I just don't see this one going anywhere. It feels, I don't know. I appreciate there's some talk that his agents and Gary's agents approached us, but I don't know. There's something about this one, Frankie. I just don't believe it. I just don't see why Nottingham Forest would sanction this move personally, but now no stranger things have happened and all that. But I'm just, I'm not really convinced that this one would occur. But if it did, I'd be very happy with it. It would be good to see, like you said, get in the more experienced player and the younger developing player. But I think we've maybe already got that younger player with Freddie Potts here, but maybe Potter's decided he doesn't think he'll make it at West Ham or he's going to step up enough this season. And that's why we need to get those in. But what I would say is, hypothetically, we sign Magassa and Sangari. I still think we need another one. I still think we need that number 8, that more attacking central midfielder, someone that can bring the creative aspect to the game. If that's where I think Hackney would be good, or Fernandez would be good. Because when I recorded a video earlier, and apparently we bid for Hackney and Fernandez, I said, whoa, hang on a minute. While I've been saying 2 midfielders, I don't want to see 2 midfielders of the same profile. I think that would be silly. You go get Hackney and Fernandez, I think you need a third guy, which is someone like Magassa or Sangari. Likewise, if you go get Sangari and Magassa, I think you need a third one, which is someone like Hackney or Fernandez. So I think we've got to be a little bit careful. We don't get in too many players that are too similar. And because the midfield, I don't think has one issue. I think it has numerous issues. It's not just that, we need a defensive midfielder. I think we need everything. I think the midfield needs rebuilt completely. So having different players coming in would be good. Different types of players would be ideal. And I say ideal, the bare minimum, actually. So I'm pleased that if we get Magassa in, also if it's someone that Potter really wants, I'm pleased for that. Sangari, we'll wait and see. Hopefully, there's more work to be done. Anything you'd like to say about Sangari or that before we talk to the live chat for 5-10 minutes?
No, not at all. Like I say, I'd like to see it happen, but like you say, it's unrealistic. But I just, is it them doing their same old tricks? Is it, putting pressure on this other club, wanting to? They've probably got a young. He is regarded as somebody who could go on and become a very good player. So is this the old? We have got other options, making sure that they're not trying to negotiate too hard, not trying to push the money up too much, and we're just sort of playing that, little game.
This is our guy from PSG, is it? This is the PSG guy.
This is it.
Brilliant. That's very plausible because the Sangari one just doesn't feel realistic to me. Right, live chat. We're going to turn to you for the next 5-10 minutes. Get your comments up on the screen. Read out what you're saying. Have a little discussion around some of your points as well. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and also do drop a like on the video by clicking the thumbs up button. Get over 1,000 likes. That'd be fantastic. Helps out the video. Helps out the channel. Makes me very happy. Does it make you very happy, Frankie?
It makes me very happy.
There you go. You make two of us very happy. Jonathan saying, the fact that we turned this around so quickly, do you think this is Sullivan panicking from the build-up of resentment? I hope this does not give Sullivan a pass. We need him out, irrespective of signings. Do you think it's Sullivan panicking? Yeah,
well, I think they know that the results are bad. That I think they can see, like I said, I'm not sure personnel. I'm not sure signings make any difference. That's my problem. They are reacting. I think they need to react because it's been such a poor start. I think they're on the verge of fans being incredibly upset. I think they're on the verge of fans starting to show their discontent to a really high level again. And I think they need to pacify the fans as quickly as possible. And the way that they can do that is via signings. That's the quickest thing that they can do. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be an effort that's not really going to change much. I don't think this guy coming in makes a blind bit of difference. I think the writing's on the wall for the whole situation. Yeah. It's in dire straits, really.
Yeah, I agree. There's nearly 12,000 signatures, maybe even over 12,000 at this point. But there was certainly this morning when I had a look, there was 11,850-ish signatures on the petition. There's more to come. I think there's an announcement later this week regarding more stuff that's coming for the board. They will be aware of everything. They will be aware of the unhappiness. Whether they care or not, I'm not too sure, but they should care. Are they panicking? Probably, but do you know something? They should be. Now, you don't want to go panic buying and start spending money willy-nilly, but I want them to come away from that Chelsea game going, oh my God, if we don't act now and bring players in, we are getting relegated. If that's their version of panicking, then good. If the first two games weren't a wake-up call, I don't know what would. Shane saying the agent giving Sullivan a DVD seems believable to him. And he's saying it might happen because Forest have got a few new midfielders. Barry saying Forest overflowing in midfield. Basuma's another one we've been linked to a little bit in the last few days. Is he someone that you'd like the look of? And while you're just before you answer, DC saying 20 million for Basuma is piss poor business. This is a future looking transfer.
Yeah, Basuma not for me, mate. I'd
have him on loan. But again, there's got to be, this is where if you said to me, you're going to sign Magassa, Basuma on loan and Fernandez, I'd say, yeah, I'm all right with that. Collectively. It's so as a deal standalone, it's okay. But the other deals around about it have to be good as well. I think it's the midfield rebuild for me is a collective thing rather than just individually. Individually, I can be happy. But one good signing ain't enough here. Collectively, they've got to be the right combination, the right styles. So Basuma plus two others, and they're all different. I'm happy with that. Basuma, Sangari, Magassa, no, I'm not happy with that because of the styles. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. WB saying, what did you make of what things did Sean say on West Ham Fan TV that stood out? One for him is when he basically admitted Wilson was a Sullivan signing. Nothing, to be honest with you. I think because his connection was bad, it was difficult for Nicky to really get into him. And I think had Sean's internet connection been fine, I think it would have been a better interview conducted. He answered the way I thought he'd answer, Sean. There was no surprises there, unfortunately. I know he admitted that Wilson was a Sullivan signing, but we already knew that, I think. So we're sort of just being told what we already knew. So nothing. I liked Nicky's introduction. As soon as Sean come on, Nicky said, right, I've had enough of you lot. You in the nose leaking all this stuff, Sullivan propaganda. I've had enough of you lot. Sick of it. I mean, that was a hard-hitting introduction to Sean. Didn't even say hello, just bang, straight in. I liked it, but his internet connection, I think, was what let down a little bit. Kiriako saying, even if they signed Prime Maradona, I'd still want them gone now. They're too reactive. They wait until we've had enough before doing the bare minimum. I want planning and I want a director of football.
I actually agree with that, and I agree with it a lot. Our board have got form for this. They're very, very happy going through windows, and all the time we're not creating a fuss, they do the minimal possible. And I'm not a fan of coming on YouTube and riling things up and, you know, causing stress and to be negative all the time and go on rants and all that. I'm not a fan of it, but they obviously watch the fan channels. We know that they do from things that have been said in the past. And it does appear to me that sometimes when we are all just, you know, happy, ticking along, saying to each other, look, we've just, you know, don't go on the negative and stick behind them and all this sort of stuff and don't throw our toys out the pram, that they see that as we can get away with just coasting along. And when we tend to really start to pick things up and they can see we're not happy, that's when they tend to make moves in the transfer window. So I know probably people will feel that that's a bit silly and why would they listen to the fan channels as to what business they do? But I've just seen evidence of it through too many windows now, that we have a summer window and, you know, we're not kicking off, we're not unhappy, and they do very little business. We've seen it in the January transfer windows. If they can get away with spending as little money as possible, they absolutely do it. And they will have sat there. They're not stupid people. They will have seen those first few performances and realised that the team is desperately in need for filling some of the gaps that we've got. But I genuinely do feel that they can feel this fan discontent building, and they don't like it. They don't want it. And that stadium versus Chelsea by the end was so empty. It's embarrassing for them. And that's one thing they really don't like, is being embarrassed. So, I do agree that we have to put pressure on, that we have to have a bit of a moan up and make it very clear that this side need signings as quickly as possible.
There was an article I read earlier. Oh, I wish I could remember who it was. There's been quite a few articles about West Ham, but there's been that many. But one earlier said, oh, the stadium wasn't full to begin with against Chelsea, but by the 36th minute, it was already empty now. And then it said something like, stripping soul from a soulless ground should be impossible, but somehow West Ham are managing it. Oh, I thought, what a good line that is. I've remembered it. It's worked. It's in my head. Gates is saying Basuma has a history with Potter, so that could be advantageous, but he picks up knocks, has a bad attitude apparently, and Daniel Levy would want Lucas Paqueta. Mark saying Sean said the 2-game thing was nonsense. Now, two things here. One, apologies. Earlier, I said that the board said that Kyle McCauley's transfer targets was too ambitious. He didn't say that. It was too unrealistic, and it came from an agent, not Sullivan. Although I would argue that agent perhaps got it from David Sullivan, but the words was too unrealistic, not too ambitious. So that was my mistake. Second of all, that 2-game thing, I think that's come from us too, and it's my fault. Frankie said, if he loses next year, I want him gone. And then in the title of the video, I put something like, Potter's got 2 games, or I want him gone, or something. It was just Frankie's opinion. Neither of us were saying Potter's got 2 games to turn it around. That was Frankie's opinion. But the title was in line with it being an opinion. But I think some people have just assumed it means Potter's got 2 games to turn it around. So I don't think I just want to clear that up. So apologies, because that's kind of our fault. But the title certainly did not say he's got 2 games or he's getting sacked. It was 2 games or Frankie wants him sacked. Slightly different. Well, I say slightly different, very different. Fan opinion. What's going to happen? 2 different things. Right then, Mark saying no one loses 6 in a row. Like it's that common. Yeah, that's the David Gold thing, isn't it? David saying, can you give any info on the government's new football bill that may have an effect on football ownership, including present ownership?
I don't know a lot about it, to be honest, Gio.
I don't know enough. I know bits, but I don't want to speak without doing more research. I think that's the type of thing that if I get it slightly wrong, it could be quite a stupid thing to say. So I'd rather keep my mouth shut and do a bit more reading and learning before I open my gob. Jonathan saying 100% agree. If I was owner, I'd be checking all fan channels, news, and other points of data to keep a pulse. We do in other businesses. Wete said was optimistic about Potter at the beginning of the summer. Thought at the very worst we would be left with gems for the next coach. Now I'm at a wait and see with Hermanson start, etc. What's your thoughts?
Well, I was never optimistic about Potter, as you know. We saw that interview with him on Sky Sports, I think it was, and I didn't like the way he spoke. It wasn't an interview, he was a pundit for the day on the game. And I just thought he was the most boring, dull, uninteresting, just uninspiring man that I'd ever come across. I can't stand the man's character. I think he's, and again, he's done this interview coming out and the way he answers questions. And look, I know he was provoked with the guy who said, are you in a relegation battle or is it too early? But, you know, we're trying to get a reaction from him because at the moment, all he says is just a very bland, very boring answer to a situation that we need a bit more from him on. Like we're literally saying, give us something, because at the moment, it doesn't seem like you're taking the situation in very seriously at all. So very, very frustrating. He must be frustrating for the players as well. And I just don't buy into this, what they perceive him to be as this man manager. Man managers, at the very minimum, get 100% output from the team that they put on the pitch, because they motivate them to go out there and give their everything. And if they come unstuck because the other team's better or tactics don't work or whatever, fair enough. But I didn't see against Chelsea a team of happy players who are being motivated by the manager to give absolutely everything for 90 minutes. I didn't see that at all. So I don't buy into the Graham Potter being a man manager thing whatsoever. Just all round. I just don't, I've never been positive about him. And unfortunately, I don't think we've got a terrible squad. I don't think people, and I've heard some people say it's not the best, it's not the worst. Okay, fair enough. Well, I think we've got some very decent, very good players in there. And we've got a core of a squad there that should be able to go and be a mid-table Premier League team quite comfortably. So whoever came in, I think he's got some decent players around him to do enough. Has he got gems? I'm not sure. But I think it's hard to comment when we're not really seeing the players, one, played in the best positions. Two, we're not seeing played in a system that allows them to look the best that they could do. So just all round, I don't think we're going to know too much until that new manager comes in. What I'm really hoping for, Gio, is when it happens, because I'm still convinced, you won't convince me otherwise, that we will have a new manager within the next month or so, that they come in and make an instant impact and we look very good very quickly. I actually think that could be the case. So that's the little bit of hope that I'm holding on to, is that the new manager comes in, finds a system that gets the best out of these players, and we actually kick on.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the game last night, the Newcastle-Liverpool game, and to watch Newcastle come from 2 down to 10 men, back to draw 2-2, well, nearly draw 2-2. When I was watching it, I was thinking, if this was us, we'd be 6-0 down by now. We'd have come out to defend a 2-0 loss and not managed and got beat 6-0. But to watch the way that Newcastle played, with the hunger and the passion that they played and stuff like that, I thought, man, we would never see that at West Ham now. We would never see that. If Potter was in charge of Newcastle last night, they'd have they'd have got hiding in the end. No way would we have ever come back. And that's when I was just watching, I was just thinking about the whole, this man's management thing, this motivational thing, the team thing. I just thought we ain't got any of it. What Newcastle have got right now, we ain't got any of it. And I know someone will say, well, they've only got one more point than us, but it's not really compatible, is it? We just don't have what they've got in terms of that team spirit and that motivation from the manager and that belief in what they're trying to do and whatever. And the fans have got that belief as well. And those fans, I've seen a lot of Newcastle. I've seen a lot of Liverpool fans trying to wind up Newcastle fans, and Newcastle fans ain't having it. They're just like, we ain't listening. Like, you won't wind us up because we're not angry. We're proud of what we've just seen from yeah, we got beat, but did you see the effort our players made? And we come back to 2-2, and we were a minute away from getting a draw with 10 men against them. And that's not the same with us. We can't come away from a defeat with pride because there isn't anything to be proud of. There's no fight. We just got beat by Chelsea and we didn't receive a yellow card in the game. Not one player. Caicedo and Fernandes did about 10 passes between them at one point inside on the halfway line, just passing it. Well, we just stood there watching them do it. And there was nothing. At least Newcastle last night, you see them getting stuck in. If one player got fouled, the whole team was pissed off and fighting and stuff like that. And there was towards the end of the game, Gravenberch put the ball out and sort of looked in front of the Newcastle fans and was like, yeah. And Bruno straight away, Guimaraes was like, no, you don't do that. He was on a booking already. He started having a pop at him saying, F off, you don't do that in front of our fans, blah, blah, blah. And it all kicked off and stuff. I thought that was West Ham. Our players just wouldn't even care. They're going there and just mock the home fans all you want. We're not arsed. And it's just completely different at the minute between the two clubs and stuff like that. The belief and everything. It's just, I don't know. I enjoyed the game last night from an entertainment perspective, but don't make me sad a little bit watching it, thinking, I'd love a bit of this, but no.
Even the fans, Gio. Do you see the fans in that stadium?
Yeah.
Like how we struggle to get things going and everything else. They stand up on cue. Like if any of them get going, they sing on cue, they stand up on cue. The whole round that stadium, there's such a togetherness, and you can tell that every single person in that stadium is a proper Newcastle fan. It's actually quite sad to see. I watched that.
It's very sad.
It was annoying.
It's very sad. Warren, thank you very much for your donation to the channel. I appreciate it. It makes a big difference. Thank you very much for your support. Anything you'd like to add, Frankie, before we disappear?
No, not really. I just, for all of what we're going through and everything that we've got happening at the moment, I'm still looking forward to tonight. I actually can't wait for kickoff. As much as that's, you're sort of willing on potentially another absolute disaster, I just don't think they're that good, Gio. I think tonight's a massive chance to build a bit of confidence, to get a win under our belts and try and set us up for a positive result before the international window. I really do feel that tonight is so important to that last game before the international break. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to see us come out and, I don't know, something just gives me a feeling that we are going to play further on the front foot tonight. I think he's going to take the reins off a little bit. We can play without any sort of pressure tonight. Pressure's off. It's a cup game. If we win it, we win it. If we don't, we don't. And I just feel like we might go and pull something off tonight and then roll into the weekend with a bit more confidence.
What do I say? I can tell you're sensing a win, but you sense a win in pretty much every game, but you're sensing a victory tonight then.
I am. I fancy us big time. And not just a win, I fancy us to be convincing. I think we go and do a job on them tonight. I
fancy a Callum Wilson goal tonight if he starts. I do, honestly. I do. I think he'll finish a draw. I've gone for a draw personally, but I think Wilson will score for us if he starts. I liked his attitude on funny enough, the former Newcastle United player, I liked his attitude on Saturday. He almost had a little bit of that left in him. But listen, thank you very much to everyone for joining us. A bit of an impulsive video, what with the news coming out about Magassa. Fingers crossed that this transfer does go ahead. it sounds like it's moving quickly. If he's got a medical book, by tomorrow we'll know if he's signing for West Ham or not. Thank you very much for joining us. Before you do disappear, though, please do drop a like on Sky. I'm chat myself and thank you. Catch you in a bit.